everybody, Captain Tommy Scoble, and you are on the lifeboat. So I just did a spot with Aaron, and I just navaged, not 2 seconds, not 1 minute before I was. I actually had a minute and a half to go before it was time to go live, and I realized that I had not navaged. So I ran into the bathroom and fired a little water up my schnoz, and this was one of the most satisfying navages in history. I'm not going to lie to you, people. This was a good one. You know what I mean? When you're done, you want it to be, I don't know, disgusting, right? You want to feel like you got a bunch of stuff out or whatever. Roro, welcome to the lifeboat. Roro says, loved your spot with Aaron. Thank you. You know what? That was still Saturday here in NorCal. Yep. Happy puffing. Just Ruth, good to see you. Full of hope. There she is. Show us the Navage junk. You know what? Here's the thing. If I did show you the Navage junk, there'd be like 4 or 5 of you who'd be really stoked. And the rest of you would leave. It's probably how that would go down. You know what I mean? And I don't want that to happen. So let's do this here. Da-da-da-da-da. Hello, Christy. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. I'm all squared up now. Hey, human. Good to see you. So let's get this thing squared away here. And then you know what time it is, don't you, people? It is time for Saturday Night Boat. Now, as you know, the rules for Saturday Night Boat are made up by me on the spot. So if you want to tell me that this was the rule last week or whatever, I'm the captain. We're just going to go with it. So there you go. I will be making up the rules as I go. You know the drill. You know that old ditty from the sea. All right. Let me get to where I need to get to, and we're going to fire this puppy up. First of all, if you have been out of the loop since yesterday, you may not be aware of the fact that the rock and roll world lost one of the greats. Last night, Jimmy Buffett passed at home with his family and his dogs. So, guy had a heck of a life and has now moved on, hopefully to bigger and better things, eh? But so that one kind of floored me earlier. Honestly, that was a tough way to start Labor Day. But sticking with the Labor Day tradition, we have Labor Day trivia. All right? Ichthyander. Would that have anything to do with the fish, the ichthyosaurus? Could that be? That's somebody that knows icky. That's a Lake Tahoe thing, the icky. I don't know. We'll see. Could be. Okay. Are you ready? Good. Here we go. 200 people surveyed, top 5 answers on the board. I can't back that up. There was nobody surveyed. Here we go. Where was the first Labor Day parade held? Would that be A, Chicago? Would that be B, New York City? Or would that be C, Washington, D.C.? Yes, I believe I did see the legend earlier, Sir Johnny Scoville. Equus, good to see you, Equus. Nice to have you back. Always good to see you here. We have a vote for NYC, and that we have a vote for Chicago. NYC, by Full of Hope, is going to be the first correct answer. We've got a lot of people that got it right because it is New York. It is New York, New York. The city's so nice, they named it twice. The Mexico thing, Mr. Ray, was a heck of a guess. In spite of the fact that it was not A, B, or C, I like what you did here. Good stuff. Goosebumps loves Jackson. And you know what? So do I. Jackson, you are awesome. Houston, Texas. Okay. There's a fish in Lake Tahoe called the ichthyosaurus, and It looks like a damn dinosaur. It is one of the creepiest looking things you've ever seen. And apparently, this thing goes all the way back to the dinosaurs. Like it's one of the oldest surviving living anythings on planet Earth. And they are hideously ugly. And a local brew company made a beer that they call Ichthyosaurus Ale. And you see bumper stickers all over the place that say it's not yucky, it's icky. And you see them everywhere. So if you ever see one of those silly bumper stickers, you know that what you just saw was a Lake Tahoe thing. Yeah, I had a plastic one at one time. Looked very real. I had a plastic Ichthyosaurus, and it looked like it was mounted. And it's fun because if you do get caught with one of these, things, you can go to the joint. Like, I'm not even kidding. They get very, very, there are certain things that you can actually go to prison for. Knock over a saguaro cactus and they will put you in prison for it. Like, no joke. Gooey duck. If you know what gooey ducking is, it's a delicacy apparently, and you have to dive for them, but you're not allowed to get them, right? They're sort of restricted, and people go get them anyway. And I met a guy in prison that was in there for gooey ducking, and I said, "How is that possible, man?" And he said, "Well, it wasn't the first time I got caught." I said, well, that checks out. He got into a lot of trouble. Number 2, what year did Labor Day become an official federal holiday in the United States of America? Would that be A, 1894, B, 1884, or C, 1904? Blue bonnets. I'm not sure that's the right answer. Green Acres is the place to be. We've got, let's see here. We got a 1235. Not sure that was one of the options. 1904. 1904 is getting a lot of traction. Seems like a lot of people think it's a 1904 thing. Happy Puffin is not messed up at all about saying, you know what, I just don't know. Not sure. Christie for the win. 1894. Can you believe that? In 1894, they were already celebrating Labor Day. I didn't see that one coming. I wouldn't have guessed that. Number 3. This is a good one. You're going to love this one. What year was the 8-hour workday legally established? So prior to that, the boss would just say, you get in there and go to work. And when they were damn good and ready, they would say, and you're done. All right. Might be 10 hours, might be 12 hours, might be till you fall down. Pretty rugged. So what year was the 8-hour work week legally established? Would that have been A, 1912? Would that be B, 1914? Or C, 1916? Tommy Bird says 1932. Not a bad guess? Not a bad guess. Hey, Squirrel Nut. Making the appearance. There you go, right in the basket. What a good cat, huh? Almost trained. She's just doing that because I'm going to give her a bunch of TREATSs when it's over. So I think maybe I'm the one that's trained. I don't know. Hello, Pooh Bear 007. That would be the down, 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 down. Flamin' Jackson says, I love that cat. The answer is 1916. Please don't do that, Squirrel. You're liable to turn off a live feed again. She's done that on multiple occasions. Yes, it is. 1916. Look at the cool things that you're doing with that. That's awesome. Right? You know what? It's really funny that you say that, V, because I think it's already happening. She may not completely understand, but she knows that when I'm spelling something, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? Like somehow you would not like that fish. She's like, that looks like a can of fish, but I promise you wouldn't like that fish. Maybe get your, oh, that's great. There we go. Just, Squirrel's just going to eat my headphones. and she's eaten about 10 pair of these. Come on, kitty. Come on. Stop it. Stop it. Let's see if we're still working. Amazingly, we are. That was touch and go there for a moment, people. That was touch and go. Yeah, you can play with that one. You want to play with that? Go ahead. Knock that on the floor. Now, are you ready? What percent of Americans plan to barbecue over the Labor Day weekend? A, 32%, B, 67%, or C, 83%. A lot of people going to be barbecuing here in the good old US of A. But what percentage would you think? Huh? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? JM, good to see you. I got a not me. B. We got a lot of people coming in on B, the 67% mark. And you know what? It is. It is B. So better than half of everybody in the US is planning on firing up a barbecue for Labor Day weekend. I am not going to do that. What do you think of that? Not doing it. Not doing it. Not exactly sure what I am doing, but I don't think I'm doing that. 33 1/3 says Mind Games. Equisai says, what was B? B was 67%. 67% of America intends to barbecue over this holiday weekend. Barbecue. What day of the week is Labor Day celebrated in the United States? Would it be Thursday, B, Sunday, or C, Monday? I personally believe. See that? Lemmy's working Labor Day. Kind of makes sense, right? You should be. It's a day of labor. Monday. Absolutely. It is Monday. And I think they do that because Monday sucks worse than any other day of the week as far as work. So on Labor Day, they're going to throw you a bone. That's my theory on this thing. Which month do many countries celebrate their Labor Day? Would it be A, May, B, February, or C, June? Mama Scova wants a Carl. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. I don't even think she would want to be in the same zip code as a Carl. It does have a rather foul smell to it. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that. May is the correct answer. Got a lot of people saying May. So apparently around the world, there's a lot of people that celebrate this whole Labor Day thing. But they celebrate it in May, whereas we celebrate it in September. Yeah? First weekend in September. In which U.S. city was the first trade union formed? All right. In which U.S. city was the first trade union formed? Would that be A, New York City, B, Philadelphia, or C, Orlando? I got to be honest with you. I feel like the Orlando thing, you know what I mean? Like they should have made it a little bit more, I don't know. I don't feel like that was even a legit thing, you know? Orlando. The answer is B, Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania had the first trade union. Hey, Carousel Delirium. There she is. I believe she's at work and only listening to us with one earphone in. At least that's what she said when I was waiting to go live. Congress passed federal laws in 1916 making what illegal in the workforce? Keep in mind, this was 1916. Was it A, working in mines, B, child labor, or C, smoking at the workplace? Do you really there's another one, right? Like they had no smoking signs in 1916. People were smoking at work in 1987. Sorry, I'm a little bummed out. I feel like they're not. Child labor. Hey, Kenneth. Yeah, child labor. I'm blown away that we were still letting kids work in factories in 1915. Holy hell. Times change, huh? When we look back at the things that we did through today's eyes, you just look back like, boy, were they all just, but you know what? People didn't live as long. It was just a very different world then. Really a different world. And now instead of child labor, nobody works. None of those kids. Noise Opera, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. What country has the lowest legal working age? Is it A, Sudan, B, Pakistan, or C, Bolivia? Bolivia is also where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid went. Their last stand. You know, they come busting out of that barn. Guns blazing. Great movie. Really a good movie. Full of Hope says Sudan. I see a Pakistan. I see a lot of people saying Pakistan. It is Bolivia. Bolivia actually has now, somebody should Google it and find out how young they allow you to work in Bolivia, because that kind of gives me the creeps. You know what I mean? Like, they're still letting kids work. That's probably why they didn't live as long, says Ruth. Yeah, really, no lie, Goosebump. It is Bolivia. Bolivia has that is the Sudan is 7. Stop that. Stop that. In Sudan, they let mind games. You're playing with me, right? Did you really look that up? Oh, 14 years old with less dangerous jobs. I Googled it. Okay, thank you. Man, I'm seeing like 3 years, 6 years, scared the hell out of me. Yeah, I'm sure that Pakistan has kids working under the table. I'm sure that there's a lot of countries. 10 years old in Bolivia, according to Google. 10 years old. Good Lord. You've never had a Philly cheesesteak? You never had a Philly cheesesteak? Who are you? Honestly, 10 years old. That is absolutely bizarre to me. It really is. Absolutely bizarre. All right. Are we ready? Darkness. Goosebump 801. Yeah, Labor Day or International Workers' Day is an American invention. Now a kicker for you. It was Mustache Man that introduced it as a hello-given holiday in Germany. Oh, the little Mustache Man. I did not know that. You learn something new every day. The maximum age to work should be 50. I'm 52. Well done. Well done. That seems good. Yeah, that is not a chili Philly cheesesteak. Let's see here. I'm not exactly sure what I was being told. All right, I'm sorry. I got a text message, but I'm sorry, it didn't make sense to me. Maybe I read it way too late, because that's something that I do all the time. In Florida, Scientology is and has been child trafficking a long time and continues. Yeah. And child labor. They just turn a blind eye to all of that. And they're importing kids and shipping them all over the world. It's really jacked up. However, I think the tide is turning on that. I really do. Labor Day marks the end of what? Would it be nacho season, pizza season, or hot dog season? Labor Day is the most appropriate day to be born on. Well done, Anik. Everybody is born on labor of some kind, right? Can you guys see this foot sticking out here? Way out here? Yeah, squirrel this guy. She's looking funny. Oh, I didn't mean to mess with you, cat. Go back to sleep. How many children worldwide are engaged in child labor? Boy, you don't even want to know this answer. Is it 60 million? Is it 100 million? Or is it 160 million? Do we got any guesses? Anybody taking a shot at that one? Anybody taking a shot at that one? Too many. B. Too many. It is the 160, man. It's 160 million. It is 160 million. That's half of America, man. It's half of the people in this country. Good God in heaven, man. That is messed up. Yeah, that is really tough. And that, this was a real bummer. And on top of losing Jimmy Buffett, I've just been a font of fun today, haven't I? All right, let's bust into some new trivia questions because that people was just a bit of a bummer. It really was. And what the hell can we do? Write to people, right? Tell you what, the crazy thing is, we're being told that it's a conspiracy theory and that it's not even happening. 160 million. Good Lord. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Okay. Do you remember that from Saturday Night Live? I'm sorry, I'm Vic Left. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you something to talk about. Wow, is that true too? It says there's over 30 million people in slavery. Good Lord. I would like to believe that that there are more good people on this planet than bad people. I would absolutely like to believe that. That would be, and you know something? I think it's the case. I really do. The trouble is that it doesn't take, a whole lot to spoil a really, a large section of the society. It doesn't take too many people acting really stupid to screw up a good thing everywhere. Happy Father's Day, Alan Ballantyne. Interesting. It says that's why I went on an electric car. I know that the cobalt is, cobalt is just awful, in the way that they mine that above ground, and those pits have like 10,000 people in them, and there's a ton of kids, a ton of everybody, just terrible working conditions. It's awful, and you know what? The Apple phone and everything else, man. Everything we touch has got that stuff in it. All right, are you ready? What in hell? Okay. No, these are awful. I'm not doing this. Hold on. Hold on. All right, we're going back to the original because those were absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. You know what? It's really kind of funny on this channel because even on days where we're being serious, we get off on tangents, and if it is anything to do with the 80s or close to it, then this entire boat is sunk. We will start taking on water so quickly. If you get one of those questions like, "Hey man, what was the first rock concert you ever saw?" And that's a wrap, right? Just those really small little questions. 80s best music. I'll tell you what, I certainly have a very warm spot in my heart for 1980s rock and roll. I really do. YouTube says this stream has 176,000 likes. Well, it's about time you guys started hitting a like. Is that possible? Is that really what it says? Well, that really would be something, wouldn't it? Kiss, 1978, Def Leppard. Did you see Def Leppard when the drummer had one arm or two? Seriously. Becky says, always be an 80s girl. Atta girl, Becky. Atta girl, Becky. Guns N' Roses. No way. Before Axl? Oh, before Axl became old. Because you know that, yeah. And Axl is old. He still sings great, though. Journey, 1983. Great. Great. Get the buckets. We're taking on water. Becky says, I hit the like button. Appreciate you. Appreciate you back. We are taking on a little water. But you know what? It's those kind of... Oh, no. Stop. Wait a second. Wait a second. OGT Bell, your first show was Skinnerd? Wow. What? Please tell me that. What year did you see Skinnerd? I saw Skinnerd a bunch, but of course I saw them after the crash. So, Lover Boy in the 80s. Queen. Yeah, I forgot. Full of Hope saw Queen for her first show. The Cars in 79. You know what, Just Ruth? The Cars in 79 were on fire. That must have been a great show to see then. What a great time to be seeing the Cars. 79. Tesla and Firehouse. Good, good. See, I love Axl's voice too. I really do. You recently saw Judas Priest. How was it? A lot of music today sucks, says Becky. You know what? Sadly, a lot of music today isn't music. You know, it really used to be something when musicians would sit down and they would, play off of one another, and there was emotion, and the words, they meant something. Now, I'm telling you, I know that I just got old, and I know that that's part of the deal, and it happens to everybody. My dad would say, I can't stand the music that you guys are listening to. Boz Scaggs, 79 or 80, can't remember, but that would have been the Silk Stockings tour, I think. 79 and 80s would have been Silk Stockings. That, again, great time to see Boz Scaggs. I saw him. I've seen him a bunch, but much later. I didn't see Boz Scaggs until first time I saw him was in the 90s, but I saw him. The last time I saw him was with my last ex-wife. The two, and it was a great show. He still puts on a really, really good show. He doesn't look the same. He certainly, he was such a handsome cuss back in the 90s, but I mean in the 70s rather. Snot face. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. You must be walking on sunshine. Thank you. Okay. The Katrina and the Waves. GNR's Knocking on Heaven's Door is amazing. The live version of it is really something. Chicago and the Beach Boys, summer of 76. Damn, that had to be a good one. Man, that had to be a good one. I dig Chicago. I really do. I really like that band. Everything sounds like everything else. Boy, true story. And if you go to see them in concert, you know what I mean? It's like they can't do a concert because they're not playing anything. They're just sort of stomping around on stage, grabbing their junk and rapping. And I don't know. I'm old. You can watch the coverage of the Danny Masterson sentencing to distract yourself from the tattooing pain. That's right. You absolutely can. And I'll be there. I'll be doing some. Oh, man, I owned a 79 Monte Carlo. I missed that car above any other vehicle. You know something? I love the Monte Carlo body style. I really do. I love it. I love that car. Such a great, great body design. That was when they still used metal in cars too, which was kind of interesting. A lot of it. Axel sounds like a cat and he's getting run over. How do you really feel? You know what I mean? Don't pull punches. Hey, Rip, good to see you. My favorite shows were John Mellencamp and Toby Keith. You know what? We're all so old that we probably remember. Do you remember before he was Mellencamp? Huh? Do you remember that first album? He came out, he was John Cougar. And then he was John Cougar Mellencamp, and then it just went to Mellencamp. Iron Maiden, 87. Nice. Nice. Hello, CK. We're taking on water. 73 Monte Carlo here. So I love that whole, honestly, people bust on cars of the 70s. I love cars of the 70s. I really do. I think some of the best body designs ever came out of the 70s. The Ferrari Dino is just incredible. The Buick Riviera, the boat tail. I mean, those were really, really classic lines. Even the Porsche 911 in the early 70s was so much better looking than they are today. Alice Cooper, great. Alice Cooper put on such a fantastic show. You talk about just getting your money's worth. What a great concert. Special effects, that big balloon full of money. It's got like dollar bills and stuff in it. They float it out over the audience, and when it busts, everybody's picking up cash. And he cuts his head off in a guillotine. It's really a pretty good show. I had a Beach Boys record. Wish I still had it. Yeah. You know what? The Beach Boys were one of those bands that were just always happy. You know what I mean? The music was just happy. Yeah, the totally different band. The early Chicago was definitely different than. But you know something? I didn't dislike '90s Chicago at all. I really didn't. They definitely were not as good as the original, but I didn't hate them at all. I thought it was a pretty good transition. Your first concert was Aerosmith with Golden Earring opening up. I've been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel. Oh, that would have been great. Over here, Gen Z, all love 70s and 80s. Real big festivals of OG bands everywhere. I think it's because we are broke and youngins get the lyrics. I would love that. I really would. I would love that. But I don't know. I don't really see the 80s making a huge comeback yet. But I'm holding on to my acid wash just in case. I mean, I've been sitting on this stuff for like 30 years. The Prodigy, 94, didn't find the 80s music until later in life. I grew up with parents listening to shellac from the 1920s. Really, that's kind of cool, though. Been to Def Leppard and REO Speedwagon and Bon Jovi and Kiss with and without makeup. Oh, yeah, nice. Journey and Pat Benatar, Chicago, Rat, and Poison, and the list goes on. Becky went hard. Becky went hard. I think I've seen almost everybody you named. I didn't see Pat Benatar, but I saw everybody else that you named. I did a lot of concerts. I used to do a lot of concerts, but I had friends that worked in that business. They did security. Yeah, that's a long flight, Rip. You were talking about this yesterday. So they left at 2 a.m. 11-hour flight. Yeah, I could see where that would stress you out, Rip. It would me too. John Cougar says Pooh Bear. I really remember that whole thing. That he's like, they made me change my name. My dream car was a Gremlin or a Pacer. Oh, I love it. We had a 76 Monte Carlo white with the red interior, leather swivel seats, and the round headlights. Fantastic. Do you mean that the seat would swivel out so you could get out of the car? Because I love that. I think it's one of the coolest things ever. Why do they not do that anymore? That was one of the greatest concepts ever. The whole seat just turned, would swivel, and you'd step right out of your car. It was genius. It was absolutely genius. White with the red interior. Man, good color scheme too. Pink Floyd with Roger Waters. Yep. I saw Pink Floyd a bunch of times. A 73 Goat GTO. I saw George Strait a couple of times when he looked good in Wranglers. Didn't he wear a lot of white? I remember him wearing a lot of white cowboy hat. First time I heard Johnny Cougar, I lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I was 5. And I know exactly where we were. That one hit you then, huh? My mom had the 71 Riviera. Hey, Susie Q. Cherry Bomb. Cherry Bomb. There's a flashback. Original video with Mellencamp and Weird Al reenacting that scene from American Psycho. I don't know that I've ever seen that, but I'm going to look it up. The Plymouth Gold Duster. You ever seen that video from Mellencamp and Weird Al? No, but I definitely would like to see that. Jethro Tull, 76, Queen 77. You gotta love Jethro Tull. You know what I mean? When your front man is playing a flute and just rocking it, man, I love that band. 1976 911 air-cooled boxer engine runs forever. No lie. You want to talk about a great motor? You could put 1,000,000 miles on that motor. If you change the oil and you change it exactly how they tell you to, you will never have any problems with them. I'm telling you, those engines are bulletproof. They hold like 18 quarts of oil because they're air cooled, and they have a different sound, man. You hear the Porsches from the late 60s and early 70s. That air cool sound is completely different. No matter what they do with trying to manipulate it so that sound sounds the same, they can't do it. They can't do it. They're never going to be able to mimic that air cooled sound. I had a 74 Duster with a 318. Loved that car. Yeah, the Dusters were great. Kansas and White Lion. Foghat. I remember Foghat. I'd love to go see Metallica with Five Finger Death Punch next year when they come to Seattle. There you go. Santana. Yeah, you know what? Santana. He's my that's the guy that I've had tickets so many times and it just never works out. 68 CUDA with a 318 and a 4-speed competition shifter just to have a clutch. Right? 4-speed. Man, oh man, a Barracuda with a 4-speed. That's good. That's good living. You know, so many of them were automatics, man. Foghat. That's the car I accidentally partially ran over an ex-girlfriend with. Accidentally, partially, same sentence. You accidentally, partially, kinda ran over your ex-girlfriend. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Totally an accident, although she didn't really deserve much better. My sister went on tour with Jethro Tull. Wow. Blue Oyster Cult and Foghat. Best concert party. Opened Dylan middle act. Finished with the Grateful Dead. 88. 1988. That's when you saw that, right? Bach Buddy? You see that right around 87 or 88. Dylan was doing a bunch of stuff with the Dead. The first Dead show I saw had Dylan with the Grateful Dead. And I saw him in Foxborough Stadium, and it was a July concert. I think it was the 4th. It might have been the 4th of July. It was right around my birthday. And Dylan was destroyed. He was drooling all over himself. Oh, you saw Tom Petty. Great first concert. Valerie saw Blues Traveler first concert. I had a close friend that kicked it toughly with the entire band. And when I was on the run and we were living in Colorado, we were hanging with that band. That was, of course, back when John Popper was still really big. Fleetwood Mac is touring. My dream car is a 70 or a 71 Hemi Cuda. Boy, you couldn't go wrong, man. Ronnie Hawkins at Ontario Palace, or Place, rather. My daughter is taking me to see Kansas for my birthday. Love it. Love it. Great band. So, worst concert ever? Def Leppard? We had a tire roll straight at us on the way. Oh, wow. And we were dumb drunk. I don't know how we made it. Got to the concert sober, though. Hank Williams Jr.'s band walk off the stage because he was so drunk. Yeah, he did that a lot early on in his career. He did that a lot. There was a lot of issues with that. Canceled shows. I saw Def Leppard had to be pretty close to 93. I saw him in Houston, Texas, and they put on a really good show. That was the one-armed drummer. That was when he had lost one of his arms. And to watch that dude play the drums is amazing. Like, he is just amazing. Ultra Maggot saw Metallica last Friday and Sunday at the SoFi Stadium in Southern California, May 9th and 10th. Wow, good for you, man. That sounds awesome. I'm a huge 80s girl, even at 52. Well, at 52, you'd have to be, right? That's right in the wheelhouse, girl. Class of 87 or 88, right? Bachman Turner Overdrive in a bar in Tulsa. Man, I love BTO. I really do. Randy Bachman's awesome. Taking care of business. That song, every time that comes on, man, that opening riff, what a great tune. Elton John and Phil Collins. Wow. And first car is a Lincoln Continental. My dream car is a vehicle that doesn't break down after a block and then leave me stranded on the side of the road to walk. Pretty good. That's set the bar there. And then you can, go for different colors and things like that down the road. But the first one, I agree with you. Get reliable transportation. For the Wham. Oh, the Shame Equus. No shame. That might have been shame when it happened, right? But Wham, it's been a long enough period of time where now people can say, oh man, I love Wham, and nobody even looks weird at him. I'd be stoked to have seen Wham. For real. I think they were a phenomenon. They really were. That's kind of cool, Equus. I don't know if that's still that. Red Hot Chili Peppers, when they did the tube socks. Oh, yeah. Those tube socks were not on their legs. I think you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, that's bad because I'm not going to be able to show you. John Anderson, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, and Alan White witnessed Squire throw his harmonica into his water cup accidentally. That is awesome. Cheryl, that's cool as hell. Hope Between the Dreams, new member. Good to see you, Hope. Glad that you're here. And you look stunning in green. Telling you the truth. You look fantastic in green. Yes, welcome. Other favorite is a 63 Impala convertible, blue and white, tuck and roll, 67 Corvette, and a Ford Cobra. 427. Yeah, what an amazing automobile. Always loved them. I would have no problem at all just having one of the kits. Bruce Springsteen Kids, one of the best shows. Really? Let me damned. I didn't even know his kid was doing things. I knew that Clarence Clemens' kid, Clarence's kid plays the saxophone like you wouldn't believe. Like he's a little chip off the old block. Parents had a 76 Monte Carlo. It was white with white interior and had a 74. I believe it was olive, ugly green, if I remember. Yeah, I know the green of which you speak, and it was not a great color green. It really wasn't. So my first car, are you ready? So my parents were laying down the law, right? And if I was going to have a car, I was going to have to pay for it. Now, I had a good job, right? I really did. Like I had a pretty legit job where I made good money. And I I saved up my money, and my dad took me to a used car lot, and they had a car there that was in my price range, which was nothing, and not a whole lot of money. And I bought a Plymouth. Uh, it was a bird, a Plymouth. I can't remember what it was called. It was the ugliest car you've ever seen in your entire life. Had a rounded back end. It was ugly. Didn't drive particularly well. It wasn't fast. But the first or second day that I took it out, somebody ran into me in it. And I ended up getting a much nicer car because of it. Phoenix, a Pontiac Phoenix. If you ever decide you want to see an ugly car, look up the Pontiac Phoenix. I love to drive stick. Sadly, my knees don't allow me to, at least not in town for any length of time. Superbird, there you go. V says her Pinto was the ugliest car. I don't know. I think you ought to Google the Pontiac Phoenix. Plymouth Sparrow. Yep, there you go. Devo. Crack that whip. Yeah, that pass a slam. Huey Lewis. And the news. I met No Doubt, but not Gwen. Smoked weed with the Black Eyed Peas before Fergie. And Tom Morello from Rage. Green Day played too. I'll be damned. Oh, never seen a pacer? Goosebump. You saw the Femmes? When I'm a walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. When I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. My first car was a Vet, a Pizza Hut Chevette. I pimped it out, though. Tons of stuffed animals in the back hatch. Wow, you were doing it. You were doing it. I'm impressed. I really am. You had a Hillman Imp. That's what you learned to drive on. I know of Hillman. I don't know of the Imp. Oh, didn't see the Femmes, but would have loved to. I was a fan. I like my first wife was a huge Violent Femmes fan. Like knew all the words to everything, and it was a fun band. Concerts in cars. Here's the deal. It absolutely falls apart. But it only does this on Saturday Night Boat. We usually keep it pretty tight. However, feel free to take this in any direction you want, providing it harkens back to something probably right around 70, 80, or 90. That's usually what you had a Dodge Colt. You had a Dodge Colt. I did too. I had a Plymouth Dodge Colt, and the car was actually made by Mitsubishi. And boy, oh boy, did I drive the wheels off of that puppy. Is it Saturday today? Has Tommy lost the Trivial Pursuit questions? Look, guilty as charged, man. You know what? It was a hell of a day. I had a lot going on. I'm not going to lie. The whole Jimmy Buffett passing away thing really, really knocked me down. Full of Hope says, we did wear leg warmers. No, I did not ever wear a pair of leg warmers. I did, however, chase a few women that did. I remember a couple of girlfriends that I had that used to put on leg warmers. The Equus says, I can't drive. Anyone else? I would imagine there are plenty of people here that, in fact, I happen to know some of them. Yeah, it's sort of a freeform thing here. The Velvet Underground, Squeeze, and the Talking Heads. Wait a second. Goosebump. I wish Johnny was here. This is a pretty wild. Violent Femmes, Velvet Underground, Squeeze, and Talking Heads. Instantly transported back to my freshman year in college in '85. You probably had 45s and under, that greatest hits album from Squeeze, because that was right around the time that came out. That's a great album. Human cannot drive as well. For the water we are taking on. There you go. Look at that. Lene knows what she's doing. She's grabbing life preservers. She knows what's about to happen. I did in the 70s wear leg warmers. Yeah, there's a lot of that was going on. Saw Neil Young with my ex. Guy in front of us yelled, do Thrasher through the whole concert. He never did Thrasher. How many times have you been to a concert where the person behind you is yelling "Free Bird," right? With the cigarette lighter up in the air, yelling "Free Bird." You know, and you turn around, you're like, dude, it's a Kiss concert. You know, they're not going to play Free Bird, man. Bach Buddy's first car was a 66 Impala, 2-speed Super Glide transmission, boat of a car that could smuggle 4 teenagers comfortably into a drive-in. I love it. I love it. 100% saw Squeeze in concert on that tour too. So did I. And I had to crawl through a air conditioning duct in order to get into this concert, right? So it's one of these huge buildings that just looks like a Quonset hut, like a big half of a tube. And it had tennis courts and all kinds of things inside it. But they took all the posts out, and that's where the concert was going to be. Very, very large. And my friend said, look, that you pull this little cage off and all you got to do is climb through the air conditioning duct. I don't like small places anyway. But he says, look, all you got to climb is like 8 feet. You don't have to go far. He said the first hole and you just drop in. The trouble is, like, we're looking at it from the outside, right? But the inside's down here. So when I came falling out of that first hole, like he told me was going to happen, I fell a much longer distance than I had anticipated falling. And I made this absolutely terrible sound when I hit the ground. Awful. We were 3 or 4 songs into it before I could possibly even start feeling good. Like trying to groove to it. Talking Heads. You know something? It's funny that we bring up the Talking Heads because you know what's happening, right? The Talking Heads are going to be doing a tour to celebrate the anniversary of Stop Making Sense, the movie that they did, the concert tour movie that they did. And that ought to be something, man. That ought to be something because the hell is the lead singer's name? Starts with a B. Starts with a B. I can't believe I can't remember his name. That's incredible. But just a super, super talented guy. He was and very well educated, super, super smart, and a rock star. Yes, there you go, David Ryan. There you go. That's the B I was looking for right there. Mind Games. Bert does start with a B, but that was not that. However, you did follow instructions, and for that, I will tip my hat. Burning down the house. Here's your ticket, pack your bag. Did you see my idea for flashback music night? I did not, but I'm not particularly smart. You probably put it somewhere that required intelligence to find it. You got to be careful with things like that. Oh, you said I didn't see that full of hope. He really was a genius. There's no question. Still is. But they're going to be touring this year. I can't imagine they're going to do a ton of tour dates, but that would be really cool to see. You know, that would be a fun show to see. And I think that they could probably pull, Psycho Killers. That probably is my favorite song by them. Yeah, that really is a great tune. But that whole movie, Stop Making Sense, was just like I so vividly remember the first time I saw that. I was with a girl named Dana, and if she ever comes across this, she'll laugh. But a girl named Dana had it on a VHS cassette, and let me look at it and loved it. My first car was a 78 Cutlass Supreme, silver with a sunroof. Big pimpin', a 78 Cutlass Supreme. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Lifeboat sober concert meet. How fun could that be? I'll tell you something. We find the right place and we just attack them, come from all over the country and fly in a few people from around the world. That would be great. Seen Andrew Dice Clay. Loved him. Women got offended. I didn't. Becky, good for you. I saw Andrew Dice Clay in concert in Connecticut. I went and saw him in Connecticut. And when I saw him, I didn't know who he was. Imagine that. Like I walked into a Dice Clay concert without knowing who Dice Clay was and was just shocked. Just absolutely shocked. Yeah, there's a great idea. Seven Sun says next concert we all go to Arizona and just stay at the Captain's. Yeah, perfect. I get could put about 6,000 of you would probably be tough. Maybe put up 2,800 or something, but maybe find someone else to get the other half. Oh, do you see this? Trish Killian says, first opera I went to see was Jesus Christ Superstar. I happen to know somebody that's going to blow an O-ring when they read that. First car had an 8-track stereo, owned 2 8-tracks to start. ZZ Top, Fandango, and Billy Joel Glass Houses. You're not doing too bad. If those are the 2 you got in the car, you're in really good shape, man. For real. Those are a couple of really good 8-tracks. We got to be really careful. Like if we make any sound, right? The idea of music nights are awesome, but we get a strike if we use anybody's music. And people will send me clips of other channels that are doing it. And more often than not, they're channels that don't care. They're not monetized. You know what I mean? You can give me all the strikes you want. If you're not monetized, who cares, right? Unless you get 3 of them, you just don't care. But it's a little tougher when you're in that program where you're actually getting paid. Rocky Horror, man, oh man, they're still showing Rocky Horror, aren't they? Are they still showing Rocky Horror? My 3-year-old repeated his nursery rhymes in Costco. That had to be awesome. I would have paid money to see that. Quiet Girl saw Stephen Wright. Huh? Her hair was plaid. Why is it that you park on a driveway and drive on a parkway? He is a comedic genius. There's nobody else that does anything even remotely like him. But that man was incredible. Halloween mostly. Yeah, I guess that checks out. I mean, I know that there's a theater in New York that has never missed, right? So every night at midnight they show Rocky Horror, and they've been doing it, I think, since it started, like since they first got the film, right? But it's not like it used to be. There used to be a lot of places around the country that were always doing it. But I enjoy that show. It was a ritual, right? Absolutely. Absolutely, it was a ritual. And you had to bring all of the right stuff, right? You had to have you had to have some bread that was all toasted up and ready to throw, and you needed some newspapers and some squirt guns like those. You really had to get into it, right? You really had to get into it. My son just saw Rocky Horror for the first time. How cool is that? Yeah, they would throw food. You get hit with toast all the time. I have some 8-track tapes, no player though. 8-tracks, there's something very nostalgic to me. That whole, when you push the button on an 8-track and it goes like slaps it over. Rocky Horror in Salt Lake City. I'll bet that was a cool place to see it. What if we did it? What if we did another night where we can talk about? You could talk about music, absolutely. We can talk about music till the end of time. I love that. I do. It's these kind of nights are great because you used to do the time warp. So isn't that, if I'm not mistaken, would that be a step to the left? Right? Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Truthfully, I do. I'm trying to pronounce that. Basking it. Basking it. Yeah. I'm not a smart man. And I don't play one on YouTube, but I do appreciate it. Yeah, Rocky Horror. It's just a step to the right. You can put your hands on your hips. Bring your knees in tight. But it's the pelvic thrust. Let's do the time warp again. Knees in tight. And you got that guy saying it all stuffy. Oh my God. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, you don't think that the people are all going to go, wait, we know this. Everybody knows the time warp. Right? Everybody knows the time warp. Let's do the time warp again. Good stuff. That whole soundtrack. Yeah, here's the deal with the chat. From the time this show ends, right? Yeah, Meatloaf is Eddie. Meatloaf was awesome in that. So 24 hours from now, they will unlock our chat, and you'll be able to watch it then. But it takes 24 hours. It's just how it works with us. I don't know why, but it takes 24 hours. I'm just a sweet transvestite. Oh, from transsexual Transylvania. He's not looking so good, but a lot of people have been doing a lot of tributes to him while he's still alive, which I think is kind of cool. Tim Curry's he's going through it. He's had a couple of strokes. And whatever happened to Fay Ray? I don't know the answer to that. Becky says, Ron's channel is how I came across you. Glad I found you. Well, we're glad that you found us too. I'm going to be doing some stuff with Ron next week. And we're going to do it in person, which is going to be kind of cool. Tim Curry reads audiobooks. Awesome. I love Tim Curry's voice. I'm going out to LA to run into him. So it's going to be good. All right, human. By boat. See you tomorrow. All right. Night, OGT Bell. Oh, that Fay Ray. I don't know what happened. To Fay Ray. I don't know. Very interesting. I should probably deep dive that, because now you're going to have me up all night wondering. Okay, everybody. That brings us to the top of the hour. And amazingly, I don't think it is Green Acres. It is Green Acres. That is a habit I have been doing my entire life. Do you know that? No joke. I've been doing the Green Acres thing. I've been doing that. It's so ingrained into me. I've been doing it since I was probably 8. And for whatever reason, I haven't stopped. Good night, Susie Q. Good night, everybody. We will absolutely be seeing you tomorrow. I'm going to be here at 5 a.m. California time. That's where we start our day. Where's the kitty in the basket? You didn't think I was going to end this without showing off the kitty in the basket, did you? This, people, is a cat in a basket. That right there. And if you can kind of see, you see the, don't you look at me like that. She's perfectly curled up in there. Yeah, goodbye, kitty. She's going to get up the second that I turn this all off, because she knows she's getting the TREAT for being in the basket. So get the dog leash. Right? Get the dog leash. It's time to go for a walk. It's time for him to walk you. All right, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow morning. God bless. And take care of one another, right? Between now and then, reach out and try to save somebody.